Midnight Muses here again with a little story time for today. I will try and do a makeup video on probably Thursday or Friday. Just thought I'd throw in actually a third video for the week, so I'm really over my budget. But I had a interesting thing happen to me yesterday, which I thought, because I do so much with mental health on my channel, that it would be good to share not just what happened, but how I dealt with it for anyone else out there that struggles with panic attacks. So I do believe in one of my last videos I was saying that I was barely having them anymore. The medication that I am on is helping tremendously, and don't get me wrong, it absolutely is. But it goes to show that as good as you think you're doing, things will always happen. It will always be that way. So yesterday I was just going to Walmart with my mom. I got a new prescription. I got a prescription for Flovent because, as I believe all of you or anyone who watches me knows, I've been working on quitting smoking for quite a long time now. Still a struggle, but what works best for me are these patches here. I don't know if you can see a little bit of redness there, and that there's like a square of redness around here. I get actually really severe irritation from it. I actually, you can still kind of see, I don't know if you can see in the camera, you can still see some red along here from patches. And I actually haven't worn a patch on this arm in about 6 or 7 days now. So to give you an idea of how bad the irritation is for me, the problem is that the patches are the only thing that works for me. The inhalers are okay. They help if I'm having like almost like a crisis craving moment where it's like I really can't handle it. I need to have just puff on something quickly. But I found that as I've gotten better with my progress and can go long without smoking, that I don't really use them, and I hate gum. First of all, I'm not I'm not a gum chewer to begin with. And so having the gum doesn't really do much for me, especially since like you have to bite it twice and then hold it and then wait 10 minutes and then bite again and then hold it and then wait 10 minutes, and it didn't help. And I haven't done any of the other things. I've got a lot of allergies and issues where it's kind of like, okay, those, we don't really want to try those with you. And even getting to a patch that works was hard for me because what we learned was that I couldn't go on a patch that suited what I was smoking because it messed up my mental health really badly. But by going on a lower patch and just working more on things like mindful meditation and exercise and like art therapy distraction, that worked better for me. And because a lower patch really helps me the most with the cravings, without affecting up here and making my mood swings just go absolutely insane. Anyways, so I got a prescription for Flovent because apparently if you're quitting smoking and you have bad irritation with the patches, if you put some Flovent, as opposed to up your nose but on your arm, let it dry, put the patch on top, it stops the irritation. My long-winded way of saying I was at Walmart to pick up a prescription for Flovent, and as well as to renew my anxiety medication. So anyways, my mom was there. She had a couple things to put in as well. So we were just looking in the vitamin aisle, and I'm doing a week, like, super clean eating, health obsessed kind of workout thing with my best friend next week. And she was, because she does this thing for her work, she was going to send me some samples of what she puts in her shakes to kind of like help go along with like the meal plan and the working out and whatnot. But when I checked the ingredients, I was actually quite allergic to it. So she had just given me some names of other options to like look for things to try to see if there is one that I wasn't allergic to, so that I could still like do the program in the same way as everyone else without having to like cut things out, which would make it a lot more difficult. And my mom was looking at other vitamins. We were essentially in the same aisle, just looking on opposite ends of things. And because I was so focused on reading ingredients, because as it turns out, they put root vegetables in everything, and I cannot use any of the shakes. The only one that I wasn't 100% allergic to happened to also be the only one that cost $60, which is far out of my budget and crazy because the other ones cost between $8 and $20. And it's like, how is it that the only one I can have is $50? But anyways, again, not part of the story. But when I get up from looking at the ingredients, I realize that my mother is no longer in the aisle. And on top of that, she also had my purse and my jacket, which had my phone, so I also had no way of reaching her. Now, I know I've been working very hard on my exposure therapy. That is something that I've talked to on here, where I spend so much time out and alone, but I think I've also probably said that, like, my two places that I'm the most scared of are, like, grocery store / Walmart and the mall. Those are like my, if I'm alone, don't get me there kind of thing. I actually have managed 10 minutes by myself in the mall, but it was like walking to meet somebody, and I was able to tunnel vision my way there, which, don't get me wrong, was a huge breakthrough, and I'm very proud of myself for that. But like, it was like, okay, you have so much time to get from here to here, and you're meeting someone that's going to make you feel safe and comfortable, so you're okay. This was a different situation. This was, I turned around and she was gone, and I had no phone with me to be able to reach her and say, hey, where'd you run off to so I can meet you here? Or with me, my comfortable place in Walmart is in the clothes section, because besides the fact that I love clothes, it's also a little bit quieter. You're kind of like in the middle of things, and I can kind of like always find a little quiet spot to kind of hide in. And then that could be a place where, because I've done this with my boyfriend before, where it's like, I'll text him like, hey, I'm in here, come find me, because I'm not comfortable anywhere else. But I couldn't do that. I knew that we had to go grocery shopping. So I was like, okay, just go check the aisles. I checked every single aisle. I checked the cosmetics area. I checked the Christmas. I checked everywhere. And then I actually checked the grocery area twice. I made 2 stops in the clothing area to kind of like settle myself a little bit. But it was just, my panic was rising so bad. So I'm like, okay, you know what? You know everyone at the pharmacy, just go back there, tell them you can't find her, see if they can page her, which I did. They paged her, she got there. In the 5 or so minutes, probably realistically was like 1 minute, but to me felt like 2 hours for her to get there. I actually like scared a couple of the other customers because I was shaking so bad, because my heart was beating so fast. I was already having the panic attack was already really starting to kick in at that point. And this one customer, I don't know who she is, but if a 1 in a million chance you're watching this, I thank you and appreciate you so much, because she realized that I was in a state of panic and just talked. And she found something that we had a common interest in. We'd both just seen the Bohemian Rhapsody movie and just talked until my mom got there. And that actually made a huge difference, because I think that if she wasn't there to kind of like distract me, that I would have panicked right there in the middle of everybody, which would have been the most horrible thing ever for me. Anyways, my mom got to me, but I still couldn't stop shaking, and I still couldn't breathe properly. So I was like, okay, can we please go back to clothes area just for a little while, just so I can kind of like get down. Because I'd taken my anxiety medication very recently, so I was hoping that because I'd already had it, that if I could just get to a calmer place, that I would be okay. And I wasn't. I actually ended up kind of crumpling to the floor, kind of half under a clothing rack, and just full-blown panic happening. So my mom ran off to McDonald's to grab me a drink so I could take one of my Xanax to like really set me in. But it goes to show that no matter how good you're doing and how great you are, things happen. Also that sometimes you really can't help where you have a panic attack, which, as I said, for me was in the middle of Walmart, but thankfully I was able to get myself to a place where at least no one was around. And that was the biggest thing. I think that if that had happened to me when there were like customers walking around, that my panic attack probably would have been so much worse, because something that happens with me, and I know happens with a lot of other people, is because a panic itself doesn't last more than 8 minutes, which is a really good thing to hear in a way. But at the same time, what they don't always tell you is that, yes, your panic attack can only last 8 minutes, but you can have back-to-back panic attacks. So your panic attack is only going to last a few minutes, and then you'll notice that you can like breathe slightly better for a minute, and then you immediately go back into another one. That is something that happens to me all the time. And I feel like if I was around other people, that essentially would have kept happening until they probably would have had to call an ambulance on me. So the fact that I was able to get to the clothing area where there were literally no other shoppers, and I could like kind of like, so when I hit ground, it was like in a quiet area, no one could see me. I think that's what made me have just like the one on its own. It was still embarrassing. It was still horrible. For me, it still felt like a major back step from the progress that I had made. But you know what? It happened. Whatever. I had my Xanax. I calmed down. We ended up not getting any of the medication. Because after that point, it was kind of like, okay, let's just buy what we have in the cart and go home, because clearly I can't deal with shit right now. Sorry, I don't usually cuss on this channel. But I did get a couple of cool things while I was hiding that clothing rack, including this shirt, which I love so much. It says, "Pain is temporary." And I got another one which says, "Find your inner calm," and they just happened to be 50% off, even though there was no sign. So that was awesome. Which kind of is like my happy part of the day. I got two really cool inspirational shirts, which is something that I've been getting into. I know that I like say my mantras all the time, like be the change you want to be, and I have my little things on the wall, or on the wall in my dresser back there that I've pointed out before. But I also like, if I can have it on my shirt, I do like that as well. And it's funny because when I go out in public, I usually have it covered up, because it's not like a show off to people thing. It's a, for me personally thing. I have another one like "Life is Unexpected," or like, and just like little things like that. I really like them. It's kind of like, it's like my tattoo on my arm that I have here that says, "Swim for the music that saves you when you're not so sure you'll survive." It's just like my little mantras to myself to be like, it's okay, you can get through this, you know, there are things you can do to help you through this. But anyways, so I had my panic attack, had my Xanax, got a coffee, which I find works for me, because sometimes, because I've never had that kind of medication before, that sometimes it calms me down to the point where I get a little bit foggy. So if I have a coffee, it kind of perks me back up. So I still get the calming effects of it without wanting to then go and take a nap. But after that, I got home, I kind of settled down, I had something to eat, I had a fantastic video conversation with my cousin and my niece out in Florida, and that did so much for my mood. And I actually also messaged a very old school friend of mine who does massage therapy to see if I could get some massage therapy, because my physiotherapists have been like harassing me about it for weeks now, and I just did that today, and that was also a huge milestone for me, because as someone with PTSD, having someone touch you, even a friend, is extremely difficult. And it was really actually a really nice, relaxing situation. And we had great conversations that, you know, he has anxiety and other stuff. I'm not going to go into any of his business. Obviously it's his, but, it was just really nice. And it's almost like he kind of knew that for me, the whole like classic relaxation situation doesn't work for me. Like if I were to just lie down and have him massage my back, I probably would have been a lot more nervous. I probably would have flipped out, but he talked to me from beginning to the end, and it was great, because like some of it was about what we were doing, but a lot of it was, you know, like what we've been doing over the years, because we haven't seen each other in, I don't know, like at least 10 years or so. And so it was great to kind of like catch up in that way as well. And he's so good at what he does. I can say right now that I have not felt this good in a long time. And it's funny because he's like, "You're probably going to feel a little bit sore." And I'm like, "No, I take pain easy. Don't worry, I'll be fine." And I really do take pain easily. And I feel really good. I kind of want to have a nap now, which actually I probably will do, because I got up at 5:30 this morning because I was so nervous, which tells you that even when you're going to see a friend, because you know it's something that you might be uncomfortable with, you can't sleep. But the point is, I had my panic attack. I did what I knew I had to deal with it, get over it, and I did. And while yesterday I was feeling much more down about it, today I'm very much okay with it. And because it happens, and it's probably always going to happen. I've had this panic disorder my entire life, to the point where like they thought I had asthma, but found out that no, I don't actually have asthma. I am just a very young kid with a panic disorder, and I'm not having asthma attacks. I'm having panic attacks. So it's essentially just, it's one of those things where like it's always been a part of me, and probably always will be a part of me. And that's something that I've been learning to accept a lot in the last year, especially, is that there are some things, they're not always the most positive things, but they are a part of you. They do not define you, but they are a part of you. And if you don't accept them, then you're always going to struggle. If you don't accept them, then you will never be able to deal with it in a healthy and proper manner. So my way of looking at it now is go head on. You know what? You panicked. That's okay. You dealt with it, which is the most important part. You made sure that before you got out of control, that you got yourself to as safe a place as you could, which is very important. And that after that, you kind of put your foot down for the steps that you needed to be able to go on with your day in a healthy manner. And that goes along with just learning to put your health first. And that's something that I never did. And again, just I actually almost kind of think that getting into this last car accident that I did in October, at the end of October 29th, was kind of almost a blessing in disguise, because it's focused me to focus on an element of my health that I have neglected for a very long time, and that is my injuries. Because yes, I work out and I've been trying to build back strength, but like I've never actually gotten professional help for them because I could never afford it, and I could never this, but my insurance is now covering it. And it's great because essentially I got rear-ended, which is what happened the first time. So the injuries that I got are the same. And now that I have coverage, they're healing me for this current injury, but what it's doing is not just healing this current injury, it's also healing my old injury. So it's really doing a lot for me. It's and in this short time, it's already done a lot for my self-confidence. As I said, by going to physio, I was able to find out that I'd gotten all that strength back in my left side, which I never thought I would get. There's still work to do, because when my friend was doing my back today, he said that there was like parts of my left side that were like kind of poking out, and he's like, you can see that there's damage there. And I was like, oh well, no one's ever told me that they can actually see it, so okay. But, you know, it's a work in progress. We're all works in progress. And the biggest thing is that we keep working, because there's always work to do, and there will always be work to do. But as long as you keep trying and keep pushing forward, then I think that we'll all be really good in the end. And to accept our flaws along with the things that make us flawless. Anyways, I hope you're all having a great day. I'm going to have my second cup of coffee, which I'm not supposed to have, but I'm going to anyway. A little bit of breakfast, and then nap for a little bit, since I did only sleep for a few hours because of my anxiety, but that's okay. Hour nap, and then back to painting, because today is a big painting day for me, and I also have to pick up the medication that I never got yesterday. Anyways, hope you're all having a fabulous day, and I will hopefully see you again either tomorrow, but most likely on Friday. All right, bye.